is where I normally park my truck, and that is the cord that normally plugs into my truck. Well, that's where it stayed last night. Did that on purpose because I want to do a video, a cold start video, using the grid heater only as a starting aid. This truck really is babied. That's its parking spot down there, and anytime it is parked in the driveway, it is hooked up to the extension cord. So the block heater keeps everything nice and warm. Makes for easy starting no matter how cold it gets. Last night it did get down to about -5 degrees. Early this morning it was that cold. Right now we're midday and it has risen to about 20 degrees. It's still pretty cold, but this is a good showcase of how the grid heater does work. So there's the power plant there. So you hear a lot of people talking about glow plugs and grid heaters and block heaters with diesel engines. I'll tell you what those things are real quick. A block heater is a element that goes into the water jacket of the engine block, and mine is behind the turbo. I can't really show it, but basically you plug that into 110 volts house AC electric, and what it does is it heats up the coolant inside the engine block. Glow plugs are heating elements that go inside cylinders. Cummins engines do not have glow plugs. Cummins, though, does have its own version of a starting aid. And right there you see an aluminum block that sits above the intake where the intercooler pipe goes into. So that right there has two heating elements, and when you supply 12 volts to it, it heats up the air inside the intake, making for an easier start. Now you can see I only have one of those elements hooked up. I've found that even when it gets down to -10 and I'm only using the grid heater, just the one element does all right. The relay I have, or I'm sorry, the solenoid I have will not be able to supply enough amperage to both heating elements. That's why I only have one hooked up. On Cummins engines inside Dodge trucks, factory applications, you have a computer that controls the timing of the grid heater. Me, though, I have this momentary push button switch, which, like I said, goes to a solenoid, which switches the power to the grid heater. Now we're inside the truck. We're going to start it. I'm going to take you through the procedure. I don't hit the throttle at all when I'm starting, so I'm going to keep my feet off to the side. We're in neutral. There's no neutral safety switch on the clutch, so we don't have to worry about that. Key on, grid heater. Right here, you can hear that clicking of the solenoid. So I'm going to push that in, hold it for about 10 seconds, because it's not crazy cold today. Depending on how cold, you might hold it for 30 seconds. We are drawing about 100 amps on just that one grid heater, and we're down to 10.5 volts on the batteries. So it does draw a lot, just the one. And our batteries are pretty weak, so without the grid heater, drawing amperage, we're at 11.5 volts. All right, let's give this a shot. That's it. That oil pressure built up. Just to show how cold the engine is, you can see down there, that is 90 pounds of oil pressure. So yeah, that's a cold engine right now. Usually at idle it's around 30 to 40 when it's all warmed up, somewhere in there. as expected, no drama starting that truck. Never ever had any trouble starting this truck in the winter time. The only times that have been an issue have been when I got bad fuel. Get water in the fuel, no diesel's gonna start. I think these Cummins are really good with cold starting. The way this one is set up, it definitely starts well in the wintertime. That grid heater does a great job, even though only half of it's hooked up. A viewer in my firewood channel let me know that these pedal pads are actually on upside down. Thank you for that. I never knew. I never had one of these trucks, the OBS Fords. Never had an example to look at, so I just put them on the way I thought they would go on, which was exactly the opposite. Get them switched around. Well, that's better. And yeah, for you dent side lovers, this is not a pedal assembly for a 70s Ford. This is actually out of a 1990, I think 1993 or 1994, that OBS Ford vintage. So we run the hydraulic clutch and master cylinder out of the newer truck. So yeah, thanks for that. Now they're on the way they're supposed to be. Let's see how this thing starts. This is my 1982 K30 square junk carry. If you haven't seen the video on this truck, go check that out. But it's a pretty basic setup. It's a 350 small block, 4-speed, 4-wheel drive, and the truck burns just about as much oil as it does gas. So this thing hasn't run in about a week. Let's hop in and give it a try. And again, it's about 20 degrees outside. And last night, that's annoying. Last night it did get down to -5 this morning, so it has warmed up quite a bit. This thing not running for a week, it'll be cranking for a bit. There she goes. This is another truck that really has been good to me as far as starting. And if you look out behind us, there's some of that oil burning off. You don't need all of it, right? The next video I'm going to put together for all of you is answering a very common question that I get. Why did I choose a 4-cylinder Cummins? Even though in the 4BT pros and cons video I kind of went into it, people are constantly asking, why I didn't just go with the 6? So I'm going to dive into that on the next video. And with that video, we're going to go through the whole history of this truck, because to understand what it is now, you kind of have to understand what it was I was doing when I built the truck and how it has evolved into this. Stay tuned for that video. Should be coming up shortly. Thank you to all my subscribers. Make sure you like the video and ask more questions. I like being able to help. There are a lot of people going through these swaps or planning them. If I can help, because I've been through a lot of this stuff already, if I can help you guys out, just ask. I'd be more than happy to do a video on a specific question that you have. So leave a comment and let me know what you want to see. Make sure you check out the videos of this truck in action too. Got a driving video up and a bunch of off-roading videos. that I think are pretty cool. I enjoyed making them, and the truck just sounds so good from the outside. It's cool to hear that. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and yeah, like I said, leave a comment with anything you want to see on this channel. We'll see you next time.